Whenever I see a box that is no bigger than my hand, I pay heed to it. I hear a call and feel sort of a lift in my heart, an odd desire to collect it, a ghost reflex from my years of teaching children. My students turned the boxes into tiny theaters or in model cities or objects I never really fully understood. And I took these boxes away from my kitchen and tucked them into my home to school journal bag. The promise of transformation thrilled me. Never again will they harbor matches, aspirins, or Band-Aids. I also love the thrift of it all, and of course the smallness. Things no bigger than your hand have room for multitudes. Many desires, many attempts, many mistakes, many collaborations, many collisions, and many tiny spectacles. Now I teach adults, and they are more circumspect with their use of boxes. The boxes prophesy to these pre-service teachers. You will need to foster metamorphosis. You will have no budget. You will have no storage space. I am startled that I am still moved by how potential transformation, thrift, and smallness create meaning. Which brings me to chicken bones. Between semesters, I buy a large package of chicken wings to roast with lime, olive oil, and thyme. After dinner, I collect the bones and wash them with a stiff brush under the kitchen faucet. When most of the gristle and meat are gone, I put the bones in the dishwasher. A few days later, I sand them smooth. They end up as dry and forlorn as any animal bone in an FSA Dust Bowl photo. And like the Dust Bowl photographer who snuck a steer skull into the corner of a farm scene to heighten the drama, I stealthily place bones into my curriculum for a good purpose. That purpose is to interrupt the continuous, sad, and sorry rituals of doing school. Like a stray dog who wanders one day into a schoolroom, matchboxes and bones have the power to wake us from our slumber, especially if we happen to encounter them before they become an abstraction or an acronym. So I bring the bones to school. On my office desk, I lay them out in a row and I count them, 16. I check the notes in my class roster. Shailene is a vegan. I reach in the back of my desk drawer and I grab a rock for Shay. I put 15 bones and 1 rock in a small box and shake it to hear them rattle. And then I enter the classroom with no windows, poor ventilation, and never enough horizontal surfaces. You will need to foster metamorphosis. You will have no budget. You will have no storage space. My students have already settled into their seats, pens in hands, phones to the side. Okay, we are going to start using something soon as we move into curriculum writing, and I need to give it to you. I want to give it to you in a certain way. So let's go outside. My students start to put on their coats. Do we need anything? No. Do we need a pen? No. Do we need our notebooks? You need empty hands. We shuffle outside of our brutalist classroom building and walk towards the trees. Stand in a circle. No, like a real circle. That's an amoeba. That's better. I'm going to read you something and then give you something. Listen, I mean no disrespect if you are a Christian or a Jewish. I'm reading an ancient text from those traditions, and I think it is beautiful. I hope you stay with me. Ready? He set me in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley. The bones were very dry. He asked me, "Can these bones live?" And he said, "Prophesy to these bones and say to them, dry bones, I will make breath enter you, and you will have life, you will come to life." So I prophesied as I was commanded. And as I was prophesying, there was a noise, a rattling sound, and the bones came together, bone to bone. And I looked, and tendons and flesh appeared on them, and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Then he said, "Prophesy to the breath, prophesy." So I prophesied, and breath entered the bones. They came to life and stood on their feet. After I read this, I take out a double-sided paper containing the Colorado State Visual Arts Standards grade level expectations at a glance, or for short, the CVASGLEAAG, and my box of bones. I walk inside the circle from person to person, look them in the eye, hand them each a standards page and a bone, and I say, Adriana, prophesy to the bones. Lucas, prophesy to the bones. Jessica, prophesy to the bones. Shay, prophesy to the bones. But she gets a rock. Maria, prophesy to the bones. Will, prophesy to the bones. Andrew, prophesy to the bones. Dakota, prophesy to the bones. Aaliyah, prophesy to the bones. Jasmine, prophesy to the bones. Fizzy, prophesy to the bones. Alyssa, prophesy to the bones. Claire, prophesy to the bones. TJ, prophesy to the bones. Stephanie, prophesy to the bones. Julio, prophesy to the bones. And I believe every single one of them will.